This is the Neuhaus Metalworks Hummingbird. It's a steel frame. I've got it set up single speed. It's handmade in California by my buddy Nick Neuhaus. I love this thing. A little while back, he sent me one of his titanium versions of this, and today we're going to take a first look at that. When I first rode this bike on my ride review, I was blown away by how soft it was. I even remember saying, I'm wondering if it'd be too soft or even noodly for really heavy riders or for single speeders. Well, I've been riding the single speed lately and it's not too noodly. It's not as stiff and direct as a stiff frame, but it's definitely not noodly and it's not a problem with how supple it is. And in fact, I love it. It just doesn't quite have that snappy, like just blistering sprint out of the gate stiffness that some other frames have. And I'm okay with that. That's not really what I'm looking for in this type of bike. And for the bigger riders out there, Nick sizes his tubing based on each frame size. So the bigger frames get thicker tubing so that they aren't noodly. So he's thought of all of that. Those were unfounded worries, and I'm glad to report those are not concerns. And the more I ride this bike, the more I'm just blown away with it. Is it twice as good as a bike half its price? No, bikes never work that way. Spending double the money doesn't get you double the performance. But this is the steel hardtail to beat for me right now. I love this thing and it's so special. But I've been curious, how does the titanium one feel? Nick's been cranking out these steel ones and he's been starting to do titanium ones as well. So I'm really excited for you guys to get some eyeballs on this tie frame. So let's throw it in the stand and take a look at it. Here she is. What a stunner. We've got some really cool anodization going on too. They did a custom hardtail party logo on there for me. Bead blasted finish. This is an M+. That's the size that I ride. Most people, my dimensions should probably be on an M, but because of where I run my cleats on my pedals, I know that sounds crazy, I run an M+. So this is the same exact size as my steel one. My steel frame came in at 5.6 pounds. This came in at 3.79 pounds. That's impressive. That's almost 2 pounds lighter. We still have 3D printed bridges and chainstay yokes and cool little water bottle bosses. I'll take you through all of that, but what a stunning bike. The tubes are also bigger on the tie frame. We're going to dive into this in my new YouTube channel that I'm building. It's all about geekery and stuff, and we're going to talk more about steel versus tie, but here's a little sneak preview. If you have two tubes of exactly the same size and diameter and thickness in steel and titanium, the titanium one will be flexier and it will be lighter than the steel one. So people got real crazy in the 90s with tie, and it was famous to see tie bottom brackets just flexing like crazy, like a noodle when they were sprinting at the finish line. So in order to make it not be too flexy, a lot of tie bikes have slightly oversized tubing to combat that flex. Anyway, we'll dive into this more with Nick himself over on the other channel. I'm excited for you guys to learn about that in the coming weeks. So here it is, the beautiful Neuhaus Metalworks titanium Hummingbird. I'm actually going to have this on a group ride at the Sedona Mountain Bike Fest in a week. So if you're in town for the festival and you want to see this or you want to ride one of these Hummingbirds, they're going to bring a handful of Hummingbirds and Solstices. If you want to ride what a truly world-class hardtail feels like, make sure you sign up for that at the Sedona Mountain Bike Fest. And if you want to be on my group ride, sign up for that as well. I'll put a link down below. I'm excited to build this thing up and get it on the trail so that we can, get some dirt underneath it and see how it compares to the steel one. So these are still handmade in Marin, California, hand welded by Nick. He's a master fabricator. He's engineered race motorcycles and components, and bicycles are nothing compared to what he's done in the past. And it shows when you ride them. Nick's bikes are truly special. This features 3D printed parts, and you can see it when you're looking at the finish. The tubes that have been bead blasted have a smooth, non-porous look, and the titanium 3D printed lugs here have more of a porous look to them. They look 3D printed. It's obvious which ones are 3D printed. And it's pretty cool we get to see one kind of raw like this, not covered in paint. The chainstay yoke to the bottom bracket is 3D printed as well, as is this little insert in here. We're running a T47 bottom bracket, which I think is the way to do it. Internally routed cable routing, and it doesn't even pass through the bottom bracket area. It passes right through here for a super clean routing, rattle free, full external cable routing under the top tube like it should be, and then underneath the seat stays. This one has sliding dropouts. You can order it UDH compatible or not. I opted for not because I don't run transmission on my bikes. It's not my favorite drivetrain, but a lot of people will want it. We got a 3-pack under here, a 2-pack in here, 2-pack right here. Now, he's done a really cool thing where the top water bottle mount has a standoff so that it doesn't penetrate the seat tube, so we can pass the dropper past it. The bottom one does penetrate the seat tube. So right now I've got a 175 mil fall line, and it's bottomed out on this bottom bolt. So for an M+, which is this size, it's designed around a 150 mil dropper. You could probably fit a 181 up dropper in here, but that's probably the only one. The rest are all going to be 150. Was hoping to sneak this in here, but that was a little bit of wishful thinking. One other difference between the steel and the tie ones is this does not have the integrated headset. This one you press the cups into. It's just the nature of tie tubing, and it's easier to get this tubing than the flared out one on the steel bike. Geometry is exactly the same. I was picking Nick's brain about how this rides versus the steel one, and he says you've really got to ride it to understand, and that's coming up in a future video. I can't wait to compare same exact bike, same exact geometry and dimensions, steel versus tie. So I'm going to build this up identical to my steel one and then take them back to back and swap parts on them so I can keep as many variables the same as possible. Now, these bikes come at an absolute premium. They are a premium product. They're one of the best hardtails I've ever ridden. And what you're paying for is a earning wage for someone living in the United States. It's not coming out of a robot factory in Malaysia. And you're paying for the expertise of the engineers that designed every tubing thickness, where the butting is, how they join this 3D printed bridge. And this is one of those things where you improve everything by 2% and the whole package is just truly, truly special. I haven't ridden this one, but on their steel bikes, you could get 80% of that ride feel at 50% of the cost. So if you're looking to stretch your dollar as far as humanly possible, I don't think paying someone to weld it in the United States is the best way to spend that money. If you're looking for a truly special bike that just speaks to you when you ride it, that has all the little things figured out and overthought, I think it's worth the money. If this is your passion, if this is your thing, if this is what you can't wait to do when you get off work on the weekend, I think if your budget allows, it's worth treating yourself to something truly special. It blows my mind how many people will throw transmission or axis on, a $500 frame. I'd much rather have a great frame than a great drivetrain because the frame is the heart and soul of a bike. So stay tuned, hop on over to my new channel, Big Brain Party, and subscribe over there so you can be notified when we do the steel versus tie comparison, so you can decide if you'd rather have a steel Hummingbird or a titanium one. Super grateful for Nick for sending this in. His bikes are absolute works of art, and they just ride so special. Thanks for watching, everybody. There's a party in the mountains, and you're invited.